Have you ever seen a zebra with a stress-induced ulcer? Or a lion worrying about its quarterly performance review and its mortgage payments? Of course not. To understand why we get so sick from stress, we first have to understand that the stress response itself is a brilliant, life-saving adaptation. Imagine you're an early human, and a saber-toothed tiger jumps out from behind a rock. Instantly, your brain sounds an alarm. A cascade of hormones like adrenaline and cortisol floods your body. Your heart rate skyrockets, your blood pressure goes up, and all your energy is mobilized. All non-essential, long-term projects in your body are immediately shut down. Digestion? Not important right now. Growth and repair? Not a priority. Your immune system? Take a break. All that matters is getting all available energy to your muscles so you can either fight the tiger or run for your life. This is the fight-or-flight response. And for an acute physical crisis, it is a magnificent piece of evolutionary engineering. The problem, Sapolsky explains, is that we modern humans are activating this same powerful emergency system for purely psychological reasons. When your boss yells at you, or you get into an argument on social media, or you worry about your finances, your brain can't tell the difference. It thinks there is a saber-toothed tiger in the room, and it pulls the emergency alarm. And unlike the zebra, who turns the alarm off once the lion is gone, we keep it on, sometimes for decades. So what happens to a body that is in a constant state of emergency? Sapolsky takes us on a fascinating and sobering tour of the damage. When you constantly have stress hormones coursing through your veins, your cardiovascular system takes a beating. The elevated heart rate and blood pressure lead to hypertension, and your arteries get damaged, increasing the risk of heart attacks and strokes. What about your immune system, which the stress response shuts down? In the short term, this is smart. But when it's shut down for months on end, you become more vulnerable to everything from the common cold to cancer. Chronic stress also wreaks havoc on your brain. The same hormones that give you a flash of clarity in a short-term crisis begin to destroy the neurons in your hippocampus, the part of your brain that is crucial for learning and memory. This is why, when you are chronically stressed, you can't think straight and your memory gets worse. The list goes on and on. Chronic stress can affect your digestion, your sex drive, your sleep, and how you store fat. The message is clear. The stress response is a brilliant system for surviving a crisis, but it is a catastrophic system to live in. So why are we so bad at this? Why are humans the only animal that can get sick from thinking? Sapolsky explains that the answer lies in our psychology. There are a few key psychological factors that turn a simple challenge into a toxic, health-destroying stressor. The most important one is a perceived lack of control. If you are facing a difficult challenge but you feel like you have some agency, some control over the outcome, the stress is manageable. But if you feel helpless, like you are just a passive victim of circumstances, the stress response goes into overdrive. Another key factor is a lack of predictability. If you know a shock is coming, you can prepare for it. If the shock is completely random and unpredictable, your body stays in a constant state of high alert. And perhaps the most important buffer against stress is social support. Do you have outlets for your frustration? Do you have friends and family you can talk to? A strong social network is one of the most powerful predictors of a healthy and resilient life. A sense of control, predictability, and social connection. These are the psychological keys that determine whether a difficult situation will be a manageable challenge or a toxic poison. So what can we do? We can't eliminate all the stressors from our modern lives, but we can become smarter about how we manage our ancient stress response. We can learn to be a little more like the zebra. The book is filled with science-backed strategies. Exercise is one of the most powerful. Physical activity helps to metabolize stress hormones and is a perfect way to burn off the energy that the fight-or-flight response has mobilized. Practices like meditation and mindfulness are essentially training for your frontal cortex. They are a way to practice observing your anxious thoughts without being controlled by them, strengthening your brain's ability to calm down the amygdala's alarm signals. And most importantly, we can work on the psychological factors. We can find areas of our lives where we can increase our sense of control and autonomy. We can build predictability through routines and planning. And we can actively invest in our social connections, which are the most powerful stress buffer we have. So, the ultimate goal here is to learn how to turn off the stress response once the saber-toothed tiger is no longer in the room. It's really about recognizing that honestly, most of our modern stressors are just thoughts. and that, we actually have the power to change our relationship with those thoughts. Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers is, honestly, a profound and essential user's manual for the human body and mind. It teaches us that so much of our modern suffering, both physical and mental, comes from a fundamental mismatch between our Stone Age biology and our Space Age lives. We are not designed for the chronic psychological and socially isolated stressors of the 21st century. But this is not a message of despair. Actually, it's a message of empowerment. By understanding the beautiful and ancient system that is the stress response, we can finally learn how to work with our biology, not against it. We can learn to recognize when our inner alarm is being pulled for a false emergency, and we can learn to, like the zebra, return to a state of calm when the perceived danger has passed. This book is a journey into the deep and intricate connection between our minds and our bodies. It's a call to treat ourselves with more wisdom, more compassion, and a deeper understanding of our own ancient nature. If you are someone who believes in using scientific knowledge to build a wiser, healthier, and more resilient life, then you are, well, a student of this work. Consider subscribing to Geeky Philosopher, where we are dedicated to exploring the ideas that help us thrive. Thank you for your time.